Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is a pick a card reading with your messages for the week ahead, which is the week beginning 8th of September. Today I have used tarot cards for you to choose, and I have also decided to not cover them up but show you the image. So choose the card you feel intuitively drawn to. That's going to be your pile with your reading, and then you can use the timestamps in the description box to jump straight to your reading with your messages for the week ahead. So we have pile 1 with the Queen of Air, pile 2 with the 9 of Fire, pile 3 with the 8 of Earth. Hello and welcome pile number 1. If this is your pile, then this is going to be your reading with your messages for the week ahead, the week beginning 8th of September. So you have chosen the Howlite Stone. Excuse my fingers, I've been painting. And the Queen of Air, which is the Queen of Swords in the traditional tarot. Now the Queen of Swords is, I would say, of all the queens, the one most ready for battle. You know, she holds a sword in her hand. She is clear in what she wants to do. She has a clear mind, a clear focus, and she's ready to move forward. So that is the first kind of energy that is coming in for you next week. It's going to be a week where you will be very focused, very clear, and ready to move on with whatever it is you need to do that week. Let's get some oracle cards, and then we should see what the tarot has to say. We're going with these two. Okay, so we have the thread, and we've got Aletheia. Let me pause a minute and check what Aletheia is again. Okay, so Aletheia means truth and clarity and decisiveness. So they're perfectly in line with this card, both of them. The thread to me means you've got a clear path ahead of you, a red thread that you can follow. So very clear vision in how to move forward. And this card also truth and clarity. There will be no fogginess, no indecisiveness, you know. This coming week, you will be very clear in what you want to do, how you want to proceed, and ready to move forward. Right, let's get one more oracle card and then dive into the tarot. Pile number 1. What do they need to know for the week ahead? Assessing. Okay, so maybe it's worth to do some planning today on the Sunday for you to really map out your week, to make an assessment, you know, of the time you have available, the things you want to do, and to maybe do a little bit of planning to help you move forward. But again, it's just another card that's very clear, very focused. She knows where she wants to go. She's just assessing how to get there. A very focused week clearly coming in for you. Right, let's see what the tarot cards have to say. Pile number 1, week beginning 8th of September. What do they need to know? Right. We have the 2 of Cups, the 8 of Wands, the Ace of Wands, the 10 of Cups, wow, the 6 of Wands, and the Queen of Wands. Loads of wand energy coming in for you, which is inspiration, fire element. So this is kind of an added thing that doesn't fit in with that. The 2 of Cups and the 10 of Cups, they're both cards that represent emotional fulfillment. This in particular with another person, relationship, intimate relationships, love relationships. So I think as well as being very focused on what you want to do, it's going to be a great week for your relationships, for your family life. There'll be a lot of harmony, a lot of love, a lot of happiness and fulfillment for you. And with regards to your work, which I think this relates to, you'll be ready to go. I mean, the Eight of Wands is a card of speed, of fast progress, and you will be rewarded for that. So very quickly, that work you're putting in will pay off, and you will be successful. People will cheer you on. Yeah, I mean, this is someone on a stage, and there's loads of people and their hands in the air clapping for them. So I think this is also a message to say, use that energy this week to put the work in, because it will bring quick results. We also have the Ace of Wands and the Queen of Wands. Again, fabulous cards. I mean, there isn't really anything bad coming in for you. The Ace of Wands is a new beginning. All the aces signify a new beginning, inspiration, creativity. And the Queen of Wands, of all the queens, that's the one that's really completely rooted and grounded in her own light, in her own fire. There's loads of candles. You can see the light here, because that is really the ones relate to the element of fire. And I think that's you. You know, you will feel incredibly inspired this week by yourself, by the effort you're putting in, by your vision, and it will feel good. You know, you will, I mean, that's the best combination really, the inspiration of the fire element and the ones with the clarity and determination of the air element and the swords. This is what I'm seeing for you today, a union of those two energies that will make you progress very, very quickly and bring swift results. What else have we got for pile number one? Focus. I mean, this is almost the same colors, even almost identical with this. So yes, we know you're going to be very focused. And we also have ancestors and generations. That card makes me wonder and think whether what you're working towards has something to do with your family, or is something that other people in your family have done or maybe tried. Either way, I feel like you have ancestral support in what you're doing. They're behind you, and there's also an almost karmic element to this, you know. I feel like what you are inspired by and focusing this week is something that you are meant to be doing, and that your ancestors are behind you. Let's get one last message for pile number one. For the week beginning 8th of September. I'm feeling this card, but they're both coming out, so we go with it. You have the Crow, never came out before. What a beautiful card. And the Moon. Wow. They both have never come out before, and they're so beautiful. I don't know if you can see them. The Crow and the Moon. Crows are very intelligent animals. They bring you gifts in exchange for gifts you leave for them. They are also often seen as messengers between the worlds, our world and the world beyond. And with the Moon card, and the Moon is also seen here in that card, and the spiral, I do feel like there is a message coming through from your spirit guides or your ancestors from beyond to say, to confirm that you're on the right track with this, that you're right to do this. And I get a feeling that this full moon that is also happening today, when this video is being released on the 7th of September, is actually going to almost supercharge you. That's the feeling I'm getting, that the full moon is always a conclusion and ending of something, and I do feel like come Monday you are starting a new cycle and you have a new beginning with new inspiration, doing something that you are meant to be doing, where there is a lot of support here from the spiritual side, and where swift success is guaranteed. So a great productive week for you, with lots of positive energy, as well as in your intimate relationships and in your family life. Yes, so good things on all fronts. Have a lovely week, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye. Hello and welcome, pile number 2. You have chosen the citrine as your stone and the 9 of fire, which in the traditional tarot is the 9 of wands. And it depicts someone who has a bandage on his head from a wound he sustained in an earlier battle, and he's kind of standing there in front of a fence of wands and guarding the entrance. And even in this good tarot, which kind of tries to put a more positive psychology spin on all the cards, it's also a card of you know, taking stock, of regrouping, and taking some time to pause and process what happened before moving on. And that's a similar energy as the card in the traditional tarot. You know, it's someone who's just come out of a battle and they're not quite ready to go again. So the energy for you coming in for this week, therefore, that I'm receiving is one of not rushing forward. You know, it's one that's saying it's okay to take a minute, to take a moment to regroup and recharge before, you know, starting the next thing or throwing yourself into the next thing. Let's see what else we are getting for you. Pile number 2, what do they need to know for the week beginning 8th of September? We have the Mother, the One, the Vow, the Queen, and the Desert. This makes me think that if you are a mom, I feel like we're just coming to the end of the summer holidays. I feel like you've been very busy looking after your family, and you might feel exhausted from that. Maybe that's felt a bit like a battle to you. And you have not been able to really look after number 1, after yourself. You've been giving a lot of care and love and attention and effort to everyone around you, but you yourself have not been getting so much. The desert, you know, for you, it's been a bit of a desert recently in terms of meeting your own needs, and doing the things that you would have needed to do to fill your cup and replenish your energy. And that really goes in line with this card, you know. Take a moment to, you know, balance the score a bit here. You know, if you've been giving recently and have not had enough time to fill your own cup, Spirit wants to remind you, you know, don't just rush into the next thing. I know this is a very kind of busy time of year when it's like, okay, it's been a long summer break and now, you know, everyone needs to be really busy and do a lot of things. And it's like, no, before you do that, you know, take some time to care for yourself. And we've got the Queen and the Vow. And I think this is such an interesting archetype to come next to the Mother, because even though you may be a mother and that is the archetype you're mainly living, as a woman, you know, the archetype of the Queen is also present within you. And Spirit wants to remind you to embody that a bit more and to take a vow, a commitment towards yourself, to honor that Queen within you, because you have as much right. Apologies, the recording just cut off. Apparently I don't have enough storage left, so I had to do some tidying up to make sure I can record this video. So we were interrupted at the point where I said that you have as much right as anyone else to receive your own love, care and attention. And Spirit wants to remind you that this week might be a good time to take a moment to replenish your own cup before moving on to other things. So let's see what other oracle cards we've got for you. This one clearly felt pleasure. Yes, Spirit wants you to know that it's time to focus on your own pleasure, you know, to do things that make you feel good. Things you do just for fun, you know, just not just chores, and I'm sure there's plenty of chores waiting as they do for all of us, but to really carve out some time to just have fun, to do things because they make you happy, they give you pleasure, they give you joy, and, you know, leave that to-do list be for a while. Let's see what the tarot cards have to add. Pile number 2. What do they need to know for the week beginning 8th of September? Whoa, okay, right. Let's start with this one. So we've got the Wheel of Fortune. And we have the Devil. And the Queen of Cups. Let's start with those three. The Wheel of Fortune is always a reminder that change is the only certain in life, that the wheel is always turning, that things could change at any moment for the better or for worse. The Devil is always a sign that we may have given away our power, that we've forgotten our own power and replaced it with crutches. Those things could be physical things, you know, addictions, substances, but often they're actually mental states and beliefs. And then there's the Queen of Cups, relating to this Queen image. The Queen of Cups is emotionally balanced. The cups represent emotions. So I think what Spirit wants to say here is that you don't know what else is coming down the road. If you constantly kind of park your own pleasure, park putting your own needs first and so forth, and don't grab the opportunities like this week when you could have a break and replenish your cup, you know, you don't know when you next get a chance. And the danger, if you do constantly put yourself last, is, you know, that you will fall, that you will create actually habits of thought or behavior that will just ensnare you further, that will keep you more and more trapped. So I feel like there is a warning in here. I feel like Spirit is concerned about you not putting your own needs first, and about where that may lead you. And really wants to encourage you to take a break this week. The Nine of Pentacles. Look at her. Again, this really very much relates to pleasure. To a woman who is not afraid of engaging in pleasure. You know, that's what the Nine of Pentacles really is. It's someone enjoying their garden, literally in that card. And earthy, sensual things with it being a Pentacles card. You know, looking after your body, feeding yourself good food, having a lovely bath, you know, all those sorts of things. The Four of Swords. Yes, you need to, you know, hold yourself. You need to build a little nest for yourself and do some mothering for yourself as well. When you're being a mother to everyone else but yourself, you know, at some point you have nothing left to give. And Spirit wants you to focus on replenishing your own resources, on giving some of that mothering to number one. This week. And apologies, I'm talking about women and mothers. Of course, you know, if you're a man, that could be just as true for you. I mean, these are the archetypes that are coming out, you know, or if your definitions of gender are more flexible, you know, this is not what I'm trying to say. It's not about being a man or a woman, but these are the archetypal energies that are coming through here. And traditionally, you know, the mother archetype is putting other needs first, but this could just as easily apply to you if you're a man, you know, like this is for someone who has been consistently and for a long time put other people's needs before their own, and they're at the point where this is becoming quite unhealthy, and Spirit wants them to start putting that same energy into themselves. The Knight of Pentacles, Temperance, balance. Yeah, it's not about neglecting other people. It's about restoring the balance, you know, where you're not always coming last, where your needs are just as important as theirs. You know, the Knight of Pentacles here, the energy I'm getting here is someone who is pouring from a full cup. You know, he's leaving all these pentacles behind in his trail because he's got them to give. And so this is really important. This is not selfish to look after yourself. You know, you have nothing to give unless you look after yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And then we also have the Two of Wands, oops, and the Nine of Wands. Well, the Nine of Wands is actually this card. It's exactly the same card. And here you can see the wands and how they're guarding it and how they're kind of protecting themselves, and boundaries. This is what I'm seeing in this card, boundaries. It's time for you to put some boundaries in place. And with the Two of Wands also, it's time for you to think about what you want. Your needs, your dreams, you know, all the things you have put onto the back burner. This week, you know, it's really everything here is saying, you know, you need to look after yourself this week and refill your cup before you start giving to others again, and really take a moment to come back to yourself, you know, and your needs and your wishes, because they're just as important as everyone else's. It's about having a balance, and Spirit is saying you have not had that balance in the past. You've been giving, and not been able to look after your own needs. Let's get some final messages for you. Pile number 2. What else do they need to know for the week beginning 8th of September? Lotus flower and unfoldment. Isn't that beautiful? The lotus flower grows from mud. And maybe you feel like you're stuck in the mud right now. But Spirit wants you to know that something really beautiful can come from that. But in order for that to happen, you need to take responsibility for your own needs and re-establish some balance between what you give to others and what you give to yourself. What last message have we got for pile number 2? The Sorcerer. Very nice. You know, this card makes me go back to the Queen card because it's a card that reminds you of your own power. And at the bottom of the deck, we have fire. Very powerful as well. You know, it's time you come back to yourself to remember your value and your magic. You know, to be you again, to not just be an archetype or a role that just keeps giving, serves others, you know, and almost loses their whole personality and character in the process. Remember your value, remember your magic, you know, give some of that love, care and attention that you're giving to everyone else to yourself this week, and something really beautiful will come of it. I hope you have a lovely week. Take care. Bye-bye. Hello and welcome, pile number 3. If you have chosen this pile, then this is going to be your reading with your messages for the week beginning 8th of September. So you have chosen the Bumblebee Jasper and the 8 of Earth, which is the 8 of Coins. The 8 of Coins traditionally in the tarot is someone who is really engaged in their work. And the Bumblebee Jasper is a stone that's really about giving you the energy to keep going. So the first impression I'm getting for you in this coming week is that you're going to be busy. But the 8 of Earth, the 8 of Pentacles is a card of someone who is enjoying what they're doing. You know, they're in a flow state. They're fully engaged in their work. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be busy in a stressful way. But I feel like it's going to be a week where you'll be focused on your work and getting on with things. Let's see what else we are getting for you. Pile number 3. What else do they need to know for the week beginning 8th of September? We have the Lover. Very nice. From what I said earlier, at the moment, I'm reading this as you loving your work. We shall see what else is coming out, but for now, I'm leaving it at that. What else does pile number 3 need to know for the week beginning 8th of September? We have release, but at the bottom of the deck, we also have focus. So that confirms to me what I've had here. I think you will be very focused on your work. I'm going to get the card out and put it on the table so we bear it in mind. But we also have release, which makes me think that maybe you're doing creative work, because I do feel like whatever work you're doing this week, there will be a moment of release, of you being able to let something go, to work through something or to process something through your work. If you're doing, you know, a 9-to-5 job or, you know, any other sort of employed job, this could also mean that something will be resolved this week. Maybe there's been an issue or a problem, and you know there will be a release that will make you love your work more again. That could also be true. So there's two options depending on what kind of work you do. If you're doing creative work, I do feel like you will be releasing something and able to express something through your work. And therefore love the work. If you're in employment, you know, working for someone else, I feel like something will be resolved this week that will make you love your work again or more. So two options depending on your circumstances. Right. The tarot cards. Week number 3. What do they need to know for this week beginning 8th of September? Right. with the High Priestess and the Ace of Cups. In combination with this, I would say for some of you there is almost a spiritual element in your work this week. Yeah, there's something special going on with your work this week. Something special is going to happen there, which could be almost like, yes, a spiritual experience of release. And with the Ace of Cups, there's definitely a new beginning in how you emotionally relate to your work. The Eight of Wands, that's a card of speed, so it will definitely be a busy week. The Six of Wands, but also a very successful week. And the Eight of Cups. Whatever obstacles, difficulties, challenges you have been experiencing in your work, you will be releasing them. You are walking away from that, for sure. And in some ways, it might not even be a major issue that you're walking away from. It's just that your perspective changes and you want something else. Something is changing this week in your work. And that's all I'm getting for now. And it's going to happen quickly. And it's promising you success. So I'd say trust the process. Do what you need to do. I wouldn't really think about it too much. I think this is something that is just going to happen. It doesn't require you to do anything. You know, you don't need to do anything special. You know, just do what you normally do. Focus on your work. Yeah, this is happening without you having to do anything. What else have we got for pile number 3? Communion. See, I'm getting all these cards for you, and it's hard. It's kind of hard to relate this to a 9-to-5 job, but of course that's not impossible. You know, I can see an easier link with creative work, but there is definitely an element of you having a spiritual experience in or through your work. You know, something big is going to be released to you. Maybe you just have an epiphany. You know, it could be that you suddenly decide, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm not doing it anymore, and you're walking away, you know, to another job. That is one option. But I feel like there is something happening that leads to a new beginning. So there's definitely a new beginning kind of energy. Maybe you're starting a new job this week and you're going to love it. That could also be the case. I can only tell you the energies I'm getting. This is a general reading, so you know it's relevant for several people rather than a private reading, you know, where I would have some background information to interpret it specifically to you. But there's definitely the energy of a new beginning, and the energy of some sort of realization, some sort of spiritual experience that you're going to have this week that will bring you clarity, that will possibly lead to you starting something new that will be successful and is going to happen quite quickly. Let's get one last card for you, pile number 3. What else do they need to know for the week beginning 8th of September? The Ancient Ones. So this card again is a very spiritual card. The Ancient Ones are the shamans of old. You know, they're all the spiritual masters and healers that have come before us. And again, when you're looking at this image, the shamanic image certainly makes sense. Maybe you are starting on a new path, a new career that is in alternative medicine, or in any sort of esoteric field. In that case, it's definitely a confirmation that you're on the right track, and that you're going to love that work. For the rest of you in 9-to-5 jobs, I would love to hear from someone at the end of this week if you had an experience that resonates with this. I'm quite intrigued. So all I can say is, you know, be open this week to have an extraordinary experience in the field of work. I'm curious. Have a lovely week and see you soon. Bye bye.